Hi there everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This month Fleur and I have decided to use some foiling products for this month's video. I store my foiling products in this plastic bin with some adhesive rub-ons, which I'll show you, and some loose foils that I've used before, and the tubes of foil down at the bottom there. I love having everything together in one spot. So these are some of the foiling rub-ons, adhesive rub-ons from Prima, and I'm just showing you a few of them here. And today I'm going to be using some sentiments, some words from one of the sets in order to create a little home decor item that I'm going to give to one of my nieces. I'm going to be using several products today from Deco Foil, including this foam adhesive sheet. It's sticky on both sides, and you can adhere the foil directly to the sheet and die cut shapes from that, or do that in reverse, die cut first and add your foil after. I've purchased all of my Deco Foil products from scrapbooknerd.com. This little package here includes some die cut shapes that I created and some tags from a Heidi Swap mink set. They come black, and you apply the foil with a laminator or a mink machine, and you have your foiled tags. These two pieces here, one is chipboard, the word is wood veneer, and I'm going to use this liquid glue pen from Deco Foil and experiment a little bit with how the foil acts on both of these surfaces. In retrospect, I should have not let them sit as long. I did not read the package beforehand, but I don't think it says how long to leave it sit. I let it sit for too long, and I don't get a good adhesion of foil to these shapes. It ultimately is fine with me because I like the distressed look, but you don't need to wait as long as I did in order to apply your foil. And I end up showing that on a different project at the end, that you don't need to wait so long. So as those dry, I'm going to work on this little watercolor canvas, and I chose some words from one of the adhesive rub-on sets, and I'm going to be using some Tim Holtz Tim Holtz Distress inks as watercolors in order to get some color on the background. I'm going to press the ink pads into a little bit of plastic here, and then I'm going to get out my watercolor brush and just experiment and see how I want the background to look before I actually do it on the watercolor panel. The adhesive rub-ons that are from Prima are so easy to use because the design is already done and you're just applying it to the surface that you're working with. Cards, scrapbook layouts, mixed media projects, and they're so easy that you just peel them off the carrier sheet. I cut out the words that I wanted to use. You stick them down onto your surface and then use a stylus or a popsicle stick like I am today, and burnish them or rub them onto your project, and then peel off the contact sheet and the rub-on will have stuck to your project. I'm not sure if you can see this in the video or not, but in person you can see that the rub-on changes from the lighter color into a slightly darker color, and that's how you can tell that you have a good adhesion of the rub-on to your project. Now I'm using a used piece of gold foil here, and you can use this up, use the negative pieces even on other projects, which I am saving this piece for a different project to use the negative space. You burnish on the foil over top of the rub-on, and you simply do that with your fingers. Now I'm going to also show you that you can use popsicle stick with this, but I warn you now that using something other than your fingers will add scratches to the surface of the foil. It doesn't remove the foil, but you will see scratches in the final product if you use something other than your fingers. It's a sensitive product to work with the foil. So here's the big reveal, and every time I reveal it, after I've applied it. I'm always in awe of the way that it looks. I'm going to repeat the same process with the word be as I did with the word yourself, and I'm going to stick down the rub-on, then burnish on the gold foil with my finger, and then lift it up. And I can tell that I've missed a spot, so I remove the foil and then I can lay it back down and get that spot that I missed very easily. So now it's time for the watercoloring on this watercolor panel, and the foiling is going to act as a resist to the watercoloring. You can apply the watercolor first and then the foiling on top of it, or as I am doing here where I did the foiling first. Again, an experiment that worked out, and I have to say that the adding of the water and the color to this panel did not change the foiling that I had done prior to adding the watercolor. I'm using a blue and a turquoise, and I'm going to mix the two together in the center to kind of blend them together. I'll add a little bit of the turquoise down to the bottom, and I cannot say enough about how well the foiling rub-ons work and what you can do with them and what you can apply them to. It's really an amazing product, I think. I'm just dabbing off some of the water here off of the rub-ons and checking out to see if I like it. I do end up going back and adding in some more of the watercolor as it lightened after I dried it, and I wanted a little bit of a deeper color. And here's a quick look at the watercolor panel before I get started on the next project. I'm going to bring back those shapes that I applied some of the Deco Foil liquid glue, the wood veneer love word, and the chipboard shape on the right side. This is an experiment to see how the foil applies to these different surfaces, and lesson learned is that I left these out too long to dry when I applied the adhesive. So you're going to see that I don't get a great adhesion between the foil and the adhesive once I remove it from the love word. The great thing is that I can go back in with that glue pen and reapply and then wait a few moments for the glue to get tacky, and then I can re-burnish the foil on and I can get a better coverage at that point. And I gotta say that is a saving grace, because otherwise if you don't like that distressed look, which I don't mind and I actually want on the chipboard shape that I have there, you can save your project if you don't like the way that it looks rather than having to throw it out. So on the chipboard shape here, I'm using a used piece of foil because I want a distressed look and I did not apply the glue in a thorough way, and so it's going to only apply in the areas where I have the glue. I did end up using those shapes that I foiled on some cards, and I'm going to show those to you now. Here's one with that chipboard shape, and then here's a simple card with the love wood veneer. I'm going to share one more way to use foiling products without a laminator or the ink machine, and this is that Deco Foil double-sided adhesive foam sheet and a happy word die. I'm going to cut the foam around the die so I have the proper size, and then I'm going to die cut it. For one of them, I'm going to apply the foil to the adhesive sheet in a little panel, and then I'm going to die cut the word from that. And the second piece that I'm cutting here is going to be die cut and then foiled. For this project, I'm going to use some of the silver star foil and apply it directly to the foam in a little panel, and then I'm going to die cut my word from that, and I'm going to skip ahead and show you the result of die cutting that. It's a delicate die, so I do recommend being a little bit careful while you're removing the word from the die. So for this next die cut, I'm going to run it through my Big Shot machine and then use some tweezers to remove the contact paper from the word alone. I'm going to leave it in the foam panel that I cut in order to make it easier on myself to foil it without having the delicate word sitting there on my desk by itself. It's in the panel, and therefore I can burnish the foil on without ripping the word as I'm doing that. My apologies that my head is popping in and out of the screen here. You can tell when you're burnishing this that it's adhering to the adhesive, because you can start to see the image that you have through the foil. I have one more project to share with you. It's another card, but keep in mind that you can do the same things that I'm doing on scrapbook layouts or mixed media projects. I'm going to set up the card with the Happy Day sentiment, the die cut, as well as using this alpha stamp, and then I'm going to pull out the Deco Foil liquid adhesive pen and show you how the nibs can be interchanged in order to do different techniques with them. So I'm being careful not to pull the contact sheet off. The word is very delicate, and I'm going to use some tweezers here in order to help me place that die cut word down on the card front. So here is the Deco Foil pen again, and as you can see, it has a chisel tip on it right now. It simply pulls out, and they do provide in the package a rounded nib for you to use as well. So it's very easy to change, pull the old one out and put the other one in. And that's it. So you do, when you first use it, you do have to get the glue to come down from the barrel again into the nib of the pen. So they recommend holding it, pressing it down onto your surface for 30 seconds to get the glue to flow. Once that's done, I'm simply going to move around my card and place dots of adhesive around the card. So remember earlier in the video when I said I had left out the wood veneer and the chipboard shape too long and that the glue dried completely rather than drying to get tacky? This is where you're going to see how quickly it actually can dry in order to apply the foil. I did not set this aside at all. I just simply did the glue dots and then came back in after I had finished up with those and started to apply the foil where I had first applied the glue. And as you can see, it's sticking perfectly fine. So lesson learned, we don't need to wait too long for this glue to get tacky in order for us to be able to apply the foil. Thank you so much for joining Fleur and I for another Inspiration Friday video. Be sure to check out Fleur's YouTube channel using the link in the description below. Take care, and I'll see you next time.